have your snacks. Hopefully you have a drink too. And we are ready to rock and roll with this paper. So first thing you want to make sure that you have done is open up all of your tabs that you're going to need. So you want to make sure that you have your essay assignment ready, your writing plan open, tree maps if you're going to use them, and then your writing rubric as well. Now, as we go forward, I'm going to go ahead and present my screen so that you guys can see exactly the way I would go about writing this paper. So here we go. You are going to have your essay assignment open and ready so that you can remember all of the different things that you want to hit on, right? So this is like your main resource sheet. You've got your writing topic already chosen, so we don't need to pay too much attention to that. But you do want to remember that you're writing a journalistic feature article. And what that means is you're writing for an audience that is basically interested and curious, educated. They want to know more about whatever it is that you are writing about. So when you think about what you're going to say in your paper, you want to make sure it's entertaining and interesting. When you're informing somebody, especially about a topic that they want to know about, you want to do it in a way that is not necessarily filled with a bunch of jargon, otherwise known as smarty pants words. You want to make sure that it's easily accessible to the audience. Once you go ahead and wrap your head around the journalistic feature article and how you're going to knock that out, you want to make sure that you remember that you're going to go ahead and make sure that you have citations and documentation. So that means you're going to have quotes and paraphrases in your paper. You're probably looking at 1 to 2 quotes and or paraphrases in each body paragraph. That will help you when you're actually trying to support what you're trying to say. Okay, you know what your goal is. You have the link to your rubric, but we've already opened that up. And then you have this checklist. When you look at this checklist, you should realize that you really do want to hit on every single one of these things, okay? So keep this open and make sure you're staying focused on what you want to accomplish next. Okay, now that we've looked at the essay assignment, you're going to want to look at this amazing writing tool. It's a planning tool that Mr. Kesterson made, and it's fantastic. You want to answer as many of these questions as possible. You may not answer every single one, and that's okay. But you do want to make sure that you attempt to answer as many as you can, because this is going to help you wrap your head around not only what your goal is as far as the UN goal goes, but it's also going to help you see the connections between the kite runner and the UN goal. So, because of course you're going to want to put the kite runner information into this essay as well. Once you've answered as many questions as you can on this planning tool, you need to make a plan. So what kind of intersections do you see between the kite runner and the country you chose and the UN goals? Like, how are you going to connect all of this, okay? And that's a really important question to think about, because that is really where you're headed when you really start organizing all of your thoughts, right? You also want to think about the format, style, and the technique that you're going to use when you're thinking about how you're going to bring about your final product. So yes, you're going to originally write this paper in a Google Doc, because that's just best practice. It helps you with your spell check. It helps you with your grammar check. And also, it's really easy to go ahead and revise in Google Docs. But your final product is going to be in either Adobe Spark or Google Sites. We'll get to that part later. I don't want you to stress out about that. Some of you might be thinking, oh my gosh, I don't know those platforms, and that's okay. You're going to be learning how to use these multimedia elements in order to present your ideas, again, in a very interesting and entertaining way. So Once you've gone ahead and you've made some decisions from this document, if you're still like, I have no idea how I'm going to organize this essay, that's okay. We have a tool for that too. So you want to go ahead and look at the tree maps. The tree maps are a really nice little way to chunk out your thoughts and make the writing part very, very easy. So you'll see throughout this document, there are lots of little links that you can use. Please do, they will help you. This is an example of a paper, like on real life paper, tree maps. And basically what you'll see on that is that you only need a couple of words, like 1 to 4 word ideas on a map. So don't get overwhelmed with, oh my gosh, I'm doing all this writing. I got the planning tool, I got the tree map, I've got the rough draft. That's not how this works. The planning tool helps you get your thoughts down on the paper. The tree map helps you organize them. And then we'll get to the rough draft in a little bit. So as you're going through, you've got 1 to 4 word ideas on each map. Each tree map is a paragraph for your essay. So you're going to look at your introduction, and that's just literally, what are you talking about, right? So you've got the topic of your essay, what's the problem, why is it important, what might be done about it, and then you're going to have your thesis statement. Your thesis statement is really going to be the only full sentence on your maps. Everything else is just 1 to 4 words. So if you don't remember what a thesis statement is, you can go ahead and click on that little link there, and that will give you the reminder. But guess what? I'm going to tell you right now too. So a thesis statement is one sentence that wraps up basically everything that you're going to be talking about in your paper. So it's got the main point of why you're writing this informative essay in that sentence. Once you've got that done, you're going to go ahead and get into your body paragraphs. Your body paragraphs are very important because you're going to not only explain in more detail, but you're going to include those citations with the quotes or the paraphrases in each of the paragraphs. Again, you only want 1, maybe 2 citations or paraphrases or quotes in each of your body paragraphs. Sometimes you can do 3, but you don't want to get overloaded with a bunch of quotes, because we're looking to see your writing, your information, and those quotes and paraphrases are just there to help support the information that you are putting out there. So if you look at each one of these, you will see they are editable. So all you have to do is delete those words and go ahead and write those 1 to 4 word sentences, or 1 to 4 word phrases of in each of these little boxes here. The quotes, you can just go ahead and write quote 1 reference 2, or paraphrase 3 reference 1. It doesn't matter. You're just going to write like Q1 or Q2 or whatever on here. Or if you just want to copy and paste your quotes from your sources and just plop them in there, that's fine too. You're definitely going to want to make sure that you keep track of where you're getting your information from, though. So if you're just copying and pasting and putting in your quotes and paraphrases, make sure you put the link in there. You see right here, we've got the link listed. Make sure you do that. You do not want to forget where you got your source information. Moving right down to your paragraph 2 and 3, again, this is more information. You want to make sure that you are transitioning from body paragraph to body paragraph. That means that you need to connect the information. How is it related? So with body paragraph 1, you see we've got the problem. Body paragraph 2, why is it important? Body paragraph 3, what can we do? This is not a be-all, end-all of this is how it must go in order. This is just there for your help. If you want to move these things around, that is absolutely okay. The only thing that you need to remember about your body paragraphs is that you want to make sure that there is a flow. There has to be some sort of connection between each of the topics of those body paragraphs. And then finally, you have this one down here, which is focused on the kite runner. Now, if you want to weave the kite runner in and out of those body paragraphs throughout the entire essay, that is okay. You can absolutely do that. But if you want to like limit it to one paragraph, that's okay too. So just kind of play around with it and see how you want your thoughts to flow. That's why the maps are there. It's a tool. You're going to want to also make sure that you're continually referencing your planning document from before. This is where you've already done a lot of your thinking. This over here with the tree maps is where you're going to plop the information and organize it. Finally, I want to go ahead and show you the concluding paragraph map. This is where you have the topic of your essay restated in an interesting way. You're probably going to want a warning for humanity. You don't necessarily need that, but it would be helpful. Of course, you're going to want final thoughts, and you're probably going to want a call to action as well, because of course, this is a UN goal. Like, we are trying to make our Earth better. So you really want to make sure that there is some sort of call to action. I put another link down here for you guys in order to wrap it up. Check that out if you feel like, oh, I'm so terrible at conclusions. There are a couple more slides on this template here for you. And it basically talks about the veggie burger, and that's how you burger your quotes and paraphrases, and that's going to really fill up the rest of your essay. And we can talk about that more later in class, but basically, when you're thinking about quotes and paraphrases in your papers, you want to introduce the quote, put the quote, and then have some sort of interpretive phrasing. So that's like the part that tells us that you know what you're talking about. So we'll get to that more later, but I definitely wanted you just to have like the awareness that they're right there. All right, final part of this little presentation here, you are going to want to make sure you're looking at the rubric, because once you start writing your rough draft, taking those tree maps and all that information and putting it down on paper, you really want to make sure that you are looking at this rubric. As you look at what you have written, you're going to want to use this in order to grade yourself, right? You're going to grade yourself first. So basically what you're wanting to do is look at each of these columns. If you can check off everything in every single one of these columns, you're money. You want to make sure that you've got all of these ones in developing, all of the adequate, all of the strong. Now, what happens if you've got all of the strong, but a couple of these ones in the excellent? Well, that's great, but you're not going to be excellent on your rubric because you have not mastered every single one of these things yet. So you will stay in the strong column. There will be more points awarded to you based on your grammar and mechanics. So you've got to earn your grammar and mechanics points just by doing good conventions and making sure that you have like your periods and your capitalization and all of that stuff, right? Which is again why you want to write this thing in a Google Doc first, right? So if you've got all of these checks in the 80 column and a few in the 90, but you've got all of your conventions and grammar and mechanics all like perfect, then great. You've got a 90 because 80 plus 10 is 90, right? So basically what you want to do again is look at how you think you would do on your rough draft using this tool. And then from there, go back and revise. Revising is a huge part of writing. I'm sure you've been hearing it all through your school days, but it is a really, really important step because it's never perfect the first time. All right, I think that covers everything. If you have any questions, email any of your teachers, stay for the non-live time, and of course, make sure you have a list of stuff that you are concerned about for when you actually do your writing conferences, because that's going to really help you fine-tune this essay. Thank you.